Hey, so what's up everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you somehow managed to mistakenly stumble your way here. So I have a couple things I'm not necessarily going to talk about because I have them set up in line for other videos and I don't really want to repeat myself, and I am going to go ahead and skip some new releases. However, I do have a couple that are very interesting, innovative, and some that are just flat out lame and boring, and I'm very excited to talk about them today. The first thing is actually something I find very interesting. That is the P. Louise color bases, and these are supposed to be kind of like a liquid cream eyeshadow, eyeliner base. It's just supposed to be like very rich in pigment and color, and I think it's supposed to help enhance your eyeshadows. But you can also use them in many different ways, and they're guaranteed to be smudge proof and crease proof. They come in blue, hot pink, orange, red, and yellow, and you can mix them to make your own custom shades. That's why I'm seeing this green here. So they come in 5 shades. I think this is such a smart idea. This is something I haven't necessarily seen before. I'm sure they could kind of go in the way of like cream-based eyeliners, but I think the way they're marketing this is really smart because they could be used in a lot of different ways. I think they could be used on like the lids and the eyes and the face, like, so you could use them for anything. I think this is really also smart for those who do like editorial artistry as well as special effects makeup. So I think this is a really cool release. Do I necessarily think I'll be picking any up? I don't think so. This isn't really something that I would find use for in my day-to-day or even really for special occasions. I don't think I would reach for that, and I think I have other products in my collection that I could get a similar use out of or would probably reach more towards, you know what I mean? So I am going to pass on those, but I thought that those were totally interesting and a really smart release, considering there's a lot of things going on right now that are just flat and not as great. The next thing I want to talk about is the e.l.f. Nude Classics palette, and this is just a very like neutral palette. It's a lot of mattes. I think it's more mattes than shimmers, but it's all like, again, very nude neutral colors. More cool tone. Well, it's got kind of a mix of cool tones and warm tones. It's got a couple pinky, dusty, soft pinky shades in there, but ultimately it's a lot of brown shades. So this is not something that I'm necessarily going to want or need, but I think it's really smart for them to create something really nice like that, because I remember when I was 16, and if and I'll upload my, oh my gosh, I'll upload my palette declutter at some point, I promise. But I had an e.l.f. palette and it was kind of similar to this, but it had a lot of like browns and tans and beiges, and that was when I like wasn't really into makeup, but I wore it for work and I used it like constantly. Like I hit pan on like several shades because I would just use them for like everything, like liner and brows and shadow. So I think this was definitely something that will get a lot of use because it's going to be affordable. A lot of women are going to be able to use it, but this is not something that I'm necessarily going to need. Estee Lauder and Violet palettes. I'm not entirely sure who Violet is. I looked at her Instagram and she is a makeup artist and beauty consultant. I guess she works for Estee Lauder, but she created these 2 palettes with Estee Lauder. One is more red and one is more blue. Are they called anything? I don't have any really information on them other than they're going to be available first in England and then December 1st in the US. So they'll be here later on, more like towards the holidays. We have like another month until they show up. But I thought the blue one was really gorgeous. There's not enough mattes in there for me to buy it, but I thought that was something like totally different for Estee Lauder, considering I only ever kind of knew them to be this brand that released browns upon browns upon browns and then maybe a peach, you know? So this is something that's kind of new for them, and I think that's really exciting to see them open up this new line into color, because that's just not something I expected from their brand. The blue is really beautiful, but like I said, not enough mattes. The 2 shimmery blues that are in there, I think there's actually 3, but one's more like a gunmetal kind of shade. The 2 bright blues that are in there are super gorgeous. The other shades really I have in my collection, and then that dark matte blue was kind of the only thing that really interested me. However, I don't know how much these cost, but I am intending to pick up the next product that I'm about to talk about, because I'm going to go ahead and mention that real quick. And it has a shade similar to this, and it's probably will be cheaper, and I will probably get more use out of it than this palette. So speaking of dark blues, I am obsessed with the new Dose of Colors Snow Angels palette. I love the berries and the blues. I think that those are 2 like it all flows together really nicely. I love it. I love that shade Thin Ice. That's the shade that I was talking about in the Violet palette, that was kind of what was making me interested, but however, I'll get more use out of this palette than I would out of the Violet Estee Lauder palette. I think this is just, oh, it is just gorgeous. gorgeous colors. Dose of Colors also released a new eyeshadow palette, and it is called their Pretty Cool palette, and in my opinion, this is pretty lame, but I get what they were going for. It's in the name, it's cool tone palette, but all these browns to me typically, I mean, they just kind of look the same, and when I use colors like this on my eyes, they kind of just blend out into the same shade, and there's not really a lot of difference between them, and I don't feel like I could get a lot of looks out of this, and this is, I think, one of those palettes, kind of like the Nude Classics palette from e.l.f. that's very, like, one and done. Here it is. The Huda Beauty Nude palette. So there are conflicted feelings I have about this palette because when I first saw like the black and white teaser where it was just the outer packaging and it said nude, and obviously like I had some idea about what that would look like. However, this is actually very well done in my opinion. This could have been so boring, but I think for a nude palette this is really gorgeous. I love these like really like chunky glittery metallic shades that are in here. I'm not sure how well those would work out because in the Desert Dust palette that I do own from her, like that pressed glitter shade that's in there is literally so atrocious. It's out of this world bad. But I do have some of her other like mini Obsessions palettes, and the formula between the larger palette and the smaller palettes is totally different, and I've heard like rumors that it's kind of changed over time, so I'm not entirely sure what to make of this formula just yet or what it would be like. I want to hear reviews, but those like chunky shades look really gorgeous and honestly just like blinding, like stunning. That does draw me in, as well as like these dusty purples that are in here. Like this could have just been all browns, but she added more to it, and the swatches look really pretty. I feel like you could get a lot of really beautiful dimensional looks out of this. So the question I have to ask myself is, if I own this, if I did pay $65 for this palette, would I get enough use out of it? And I think logically the answer would be no, but that doesn't stop my like brain from like desiring it. Give Me Glow Cosmetics Grunge palette. I believe it is set to launch December 26th. I'm not entirely sure, but it will retail for $41. It's a 9-pan palette. I think you can remove the shades as well. And I think these shades are just really stunning. I think these are gorgeous. I feel very inspired by this palette. It's got these very like deep but muted berries. I don't necessarily think it needed like two really deep shades like that. Like it didn't need that deep gray and then that black shade. Like they both look very similar and both are super not necessary. However, I think that aside, the shimmers are really gorgeous in here, the mattes look really gorgeous in here, and I'm really excited to try Give Me Glow as a brand. So I really do want to try this. This is very like my aesthetic and my kind of look on the day-to-day, so I'm very interested in this palette and very excited to pick it up. Ofra is releasing a new highlighter. They're releasing like a couple of holiday things, but I'm kind of trying to save those for like a holiday video, which I still haven't done and might never do. Oh my god. But I do want to talk about this because I do love Ofra highlighters. I own almost all of them. I don't own like the really dark ones I think like Nikki Tutorial has. I don't own Everglow or Glow Goals or whatever the really dark one is. I think it's like Blind the Haters, and I don't own Star Island yet. But I actually think I'm going to skip Star Island as a whole and get this one instead, and this is the Spiced Velvet highlighter, and it comes with 4 shades in one pan, kind of like Beverly Hills has the 5 shades in the one pan. So it comes with 4, and it has Star Island, Bali, Blissful, and Toasted Cinnamon. I do have Blissful, but I don't have Bali, and I don't have Star Island and Cinnamon Cashmere. Toasted Cashmere is a new shade. So I thought this would be a really nice way to try some new shades and honestly just expand my Ofra collection because I like them like way too much. So of course I totally want to buy this. Ofra Real has a really good Black Friday sale. I think they typically do 50% off. So I am going to go ahead and wait and see if I still want it around that time, and then I will pick it up on sale. So Jouer is releasing, I don't know if it's a holiday collection. I think it is, but I'm seeing sneak peeks of this palette, and this is the Making Magic Ultra Foil eyeshadow palette. And wow, boring, so boring. I am so disappointed with Jouer constantly. I guess I say constantly. Their Blush Bouquet duos I think were really gorgeous and really pretty. I haven't bought them or tried them. Actually, I think I've only tried Jouer lip creams, and they dried very quickly. Like they expired very fast. The metallic ones did. The cream one that I have is still good and still works really well and it's really nice, but their metallic ones don't last very long. Both of them I threw away because they were like expired and dry and smelled bad. But their eyeshadow palettes, I mean, they just continue and continue to bore me. And this honestly just looks like an all metallic version of their first palette that they made. I think especially with that purple and that blue and like the gold shades. So this is just kind of like, ugh, you could have done something and you didn't. And I just don't get excited for them. I don't get excited for their products because they don't do anything different. They're not very out of the box and it's just kind of boring. I'm not interested in this. Pat McGrath released 3 new eyeshadow palettes. I believe this is called the Opulence collection. I'm trying to find a picture where they're open. I only have one where it's shut and I don't know why. What is it? The Opulence palette collection. The Mothership Opulence. I don't know. Dude, I don't even know. I don't really keep up with Pat McGrath, and I don't really get excited for Pat McGrath things either. One, because they're so expensive, and two, because none of the palettes or like the lipsticks ever really appealed to me. They're not things that I've seen that are new. They're not different. They're not exciting to me. The packaging is a big turnoff for me, especially the ones that are smaller, like these ones that she's releasing where you have to like fold them and then tie them. That's not my jam. That's kind of not the move for me. Just kind of a hassle and like seems really chunky for what it is. Makeup Forever Life's a Stage palette. This could have been something, but isn't. When you really look at it, I mean, at first glance, I definitely kind of had a moment where I was like, that's cool. And I looked at it and I liked it. But then, I mean, you have to do the game of where you you cover up the shades that are colorful or that you're interested in, and then you're just left with, I mean, variations of the same 3 browns. And it's kind of disappointing to see because this is something called Life's a Stage, and I went back and forth on this for a while where I was like, well, life's a stage, so it should be more colorful and more exciting than this and more innovative. And then I thought, well, maybe it's being targeted for more like theatrical purposes, and that can, you know, a lot of theaters and like stage artists, they want these browns so they can add depth to the eye or darkness or whatever, but so this is not maybe what they want. Still not entirely sure who this is targeted towards. I think the average beauty guru or artist has all of these and doesn't need all of these. Maybe people who are artists who are very loyal to Makeup Forever will desire this, but this is just kind of something that it just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it. And I think this has a lot of shades that repeat, what am I saying? That are similar to shades we would already have. I know the Born to Run palette has kind of made its way all around the YouTube community, as well as with, you know, non-YouTube beauty people who are just looking for something that has like colors and neutrals and that they can make work for a day-to-day as well as a night look as well as a dramatic look. So it has shades that are similar to that palette and shades that I just have in my collection that I definitely don't need. And I mean, it's got what, like 3, 6, 9, 10 colorful shades, and then the rest are boring, bland browns. I'm over it. I'm over this. I think Makeup Forever really could have done something with this and hasn't. And I also heard a rumor, we haven't heard prices yet, but I have heard a rumor that this is like $300. I don't know if that's true. I wouldn't put it past Makeup Forever, but if that's true, this is an insane price, and don't be the person that buys this. Don't be the person that buys a $300 palette that looks like this. I mean, the Vidyard Grand Pro 1 isn't available at Sephora. I think it's $160, which is still crazy expensive, but I think it has more shades in this and definitely has more variety than this does, and it's half the cost. But we don't know anything yet, but in my opinion, that sounds disgusting. It's disgusting. Wet n Wild is releasing a little holiday collection. I thought I would talk about the highlighting palette. I will never buy lip sets. Usually, I'm not really planning on picking up this lip set, and Wet n Wild cat suits are just not my jam. However, actually, Wet n Wild is doing a couple of things, so we might stick with them for a hot minute. Okay, so they're doing a Wet n Wild, another highlighting glow palette. This actually makes me laugh because they released that one highlighting palette, and I decluttered it. I got rid of it. But it had like a green and like this like peach that was like a matte with glitter infused and not really a shimmer. And they had like this like crazy icy silver color and then like this one wearable shade. And it was kind of like a really random assortment of shades, but people got really excited for it because it was a highlighter kit at the drugstore and there weren't very many of those that were good. So it makes me laugh that they're releasing this because this is totally what they should have released instead of that first one. However, I mean, I get it, and this will probably sell a lot if people haven't tested out the Wet n Wild formula yet, which I'm sure by now they have. 2 of these shades, I believe, or 3 of them. Actually, I think 3 of them have been put out on the market as singles already, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's definitely 2 that have been permanently released and have been released for a while, that are in this palette. So it's kind of like, well, I have those 2. I was looking at buying this, but then I realized I had those 2 shades and I was like, I really don't need this then because I have all the shades that I would want from this palette. But if you haven't tried them, I think this is a good option. It's like 15 bucks and they're like square ones that are permanent are usually like, I think $6 or $5, which is still really affordable. So I mean, I would recommend it if you're interested in trying it out. But I mean, I don't need this because I already have those shades. The Morphe Winter Collection. Let's see, so they have 2 eyeshadow palettes and then a highlighting palette. So the highlighting palette is called the Stellar Lights Highlighting Palette, and it looks like something I've seen before from them. Am I crazy? I don't know. Looks like it has some wearable shades as well as some more editorial shades like that lavendery blue color, but ultimately it's got like some soft pinks and like champagne kind of colors and like those 2 golds right there. So I think this is like a really nice like fluid eyeshadow highlighter palette, sorry. So I think that's a really cool release and it's going to be affordable. I think it's like 16 bucks. And they have 2 eyeshadow palettes in one. I was like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's like a good fall palette, but it's not for me. And it's got these oranges and like deep browns, almost like a plum, and then this like bright yellow, which is kind of nice. It almost looks a little bit similar to the Kylie Halloween palette. So if you were thinking about picking that up, you might want to look at this and make your decision because this will be a lot cheaper. I think these are $16 or $12 actually. I can't remember which. I don't know. But they're gonna be a lot more affordable than that palette, and they have a lot more shades in them. So think about that. But the one that honestly, it totally caught my attention, and it is I think it's called the Artistry Butterfly. I don't remember what it's called. The Artistry palette, and it's that like pinky blue one. That's gorgeous. And honestly, in my opinion, Morphe has been stepping it up a little bit with the Stunning Vibes palette and the Boss Mood palette. I did pick up the Boss Mood palette. I haven't used it yet and I'm very excited. It just came in the mail yesterday, so I can't wait to use that and do some looks with those fun colors. But Morphe has been stepping it up a little bit, which is funny because the other day I was walking in the Morphe store with my friend Caroline and we were just pretty much saying that Morphe makes the same thing over and over and over and over again. So it's nice to see them branching out and making these more like color story focused palettes versus the same shade of brown 20 times over and then like an orange and a red in a palette, you know, shade to the 3502. LA Girl blush and highlight kits. I think there's gonna be 2 of each. The highlighting kits look like they could go either way. I think there's one that's more like goldeny toned and one that definitely has more, I think, ice to it. And then the blush kits, very clearly there's one that's made for darker skin and one for lighter skin. They're all very gorgeous. Will I buy them? Likely no, because I don't need any more blushes. I don't need any more highlighters, but these are really pretty and loving that LA Girl is expanding because I haven't really seen much from them recently. I think they released some eyeliners that are doing pretty good right now, but other than that, they haven't really come up with anything new. So I think these are really good for their brand to kind of put themselves back in the game. So hopefully these will come out soon. I think there's supposed to be a new sneak peek from them too, so hopefully they'll make, I don't know, like an eyeshadow palette or something. I just want to see more from them. So it's nice that they're coming out with these, and it's nice that it's not just one highlighting palette or not just one blush palette, but there's 2 of each that can kind of cater between skin tones. I think that's really awesome of them, so props to them. I won't be picking it up, but I think it's really cool to see them expanding. YSL Beauty Spring 19 collection. Really, this is stunning. I love this packaging and this eyeshadow palette. Okay, I've never really trusted YSL Beauty, not for any particular reason. I just feel like brands that are really expensive like that and really like luxury brands, I don't think they could ever be that good. And that kind of goes for Natasha Denona. Like, I have one of her mini palettes and I like it a lot, but I mean, overall, I don't think I could ever find myself purchasing one of those bigger palettes because it's just too expensive for what it is. And I have other palettes that were a lot cheaper and have probably I would probably get more use out of and would, I don't know, enjoy using more than a palette that's that expensive. Long story short, I don't really trust luxury brands. This, however, looks really pretty. I think it's a mostly metallic palette. I can't tell if that like rosy shade on the end is like a matte or not. I don't know. This is really pretty though, like that gorgeous like magenta shade in the middle. Oh, it's so beautiful. I definitely won't be picking this up because I know it'll be mad expensive and I probably would just have it because it's super pretty. because this looks very similar to palettes that I already have, i.e. the Tutti Frutti Razzle Dazzle Berry palette, I think. I don't know. It looks very similar to that. I don't need this, but it's super pretty. I think it also comes with like a cheek thing. I don't know. It's really weird because it's got like this white powder and then like a pink blush in the middle. I'm not sure how that works. And then a lipstick. I don't need another red lipstick ever in my life. I was very excited to see that ColourPop is coming out with foundation sticks. 15, 20, 25, 30, 30 shades. So that's pretty nice. I think it's a really decent ombre of colors. I mean, well, let me know if you have darker skin or medium skin or even pale skin, and if you feel like this doesn't accommodate you, let me know how you think about this. I feel like it's a decent lineup. I'm pretty pasty, but I can definitely make my shade happen. I honestly am really into trying these. I'm looking for a stick foundation, so I'm excited to see an affordable option pop up. These are going to be $10. I bought the Makeup Revolution Quick Stick or whatever it is, and I don't love it yet, and I'm kind of on the fence when I use it because it all depends on the primer I use and the concealer I use with it, whether or not that will break up on my face and make me look oily AF for the rest of the day. But I like using it because I like to take it to work when I work all day. Like on Sundays, I work seriously from, 6 to 8. So it's kind of like I'm there all day and I don't like to do my makeup early in the morning, so I do it during my lunch break. So I like to kind of pack all my makeup together, and I don't really like taking like my glass bottles or like liquid foundations because it's just like it's too messy and it's just kind of too much when I'm doing my makeup at my desk at work, you know? So I wanted a stick that would just be really easy to, pop on, blend out, and then it's done. So I'm interested in this. I do want to see some reviews first, but I am interested in trying this out. So Elsie is coming out with new highlighters. She just released some, like, not that long ago, maybe a couple months ago, but now she's releasing two. I think these are for holidays, and they're called the Eclipse highlighters. They're in two shades. One is a gold, one is a pink, and it's Sol and Luna. I think these are very pretty. I definitely don't need the gold one. I definitely don't need the pink one, but I want the pink one. I think these are $32, and I think these are limited edition. They're so pretty. This press is incredible and honestly might be a reason I picked this. Elsie is on my list of brands to try by 2019 or during 2019. And I think I could definitely pick one of these up and just kind of get that get that train on the road, you know? Oh, Wet n Wild is also releasing new liquid eyeshadows. So they're releasing shimmer metallic and cream liquid eyeshadow shades. Okay, let's start with this. Cream liquid eyeshadows, I don't really know how well those work and how many people really use them. I feel like that's kind of a really weird formula. And I remember even I had some cream eyeshadows, I think when I was just starting in makeup, and one was a matte, and when I would use it, I was like, this looks bad on my eyes. Like, it aged me, and it made my eyes so dry, and just was like, why is this happening to my skin? It's because it was a liquid cream, and it just, like, when it dried down matte, it was like, this is disgusting and I hate this and not for me. Not for me. They have the colors released already, but I can't see them. I can only see this black and white image, but pretty much all I'm going to say is I don't need any more metallic liquid eyeshadows or shimmer liquid eyeshadows, and I'm definitely not going to buy any cream liquid eyeshadows. So this is not for me, but I think people are always looking for dupes for the Stila liquid glitters and shimmers and stuff, so I think these are a good option. And I don't know. Pretty much this was the saddest thing I'd ever seen, and it was the almost said Shop Violet Voss. That's not what it's called. The Violet Voss Sweet Treasures collection, and it's like these 4 little palettes. And okay, so let's just take a minute. It's nice to see that they were smart enough to jump on the bandwagon of smaller eyeshadow palettes. I think after Jaclyn Hill's Vault did so well because they were smaller palettes that could, one, come in a whole collection, or two, you could buy separately, and they were just smaller and they were more, you know, like, again, focused on a color story. They were smart enough to take advantage of that, and they released ideas so that when these were black and white and we couldn't tell what they looked like yet, you knew it would be smart. Because it was creme brulee. And I was like, okay, we got our warm toned matte. That'll be really pretty nude colors, really pretty brown colors, warm toned, fine. Le Macaron. I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a beautiful, like, pastel, like, mattes. It'll be kind of like pastel goth, but like, you know, not Kat Von D. Not canceled. And not limited edition. It'll be Berry Blast, I was kind of not excited for that, but I was like, okay, fine. Berry Tones, I mean, that Urban Decay Naked Cherry's out right now, whatever. And then Fruit Sorbet will be your rainbow palette, fine, whatever. Okay. Like, they made sense. They were smart because they would kind of attack like a whole spectrum and still be original, if that makes sense. Like, they would appeal to a lot of people but still have a lot of uniqueness to them. And then they released what they actually looked like, and I could not have been more disappointed. It was shocking to see how poorly these were designed, and they were just, I mean, flat out not interesting. Creme Brulee is as I expected. I mean, I think there's a little too many taupey shimmers in there. That's just my opinion. I think they could have benefited from another, like, 2 lighter brown matte shades for more transitions, because really we have that one, like, peanut butter brown color in there, and that's kind of it. I don't want to talk about these too much, because if I do, I will lose touch of the whole video and you'll totally lose me, and I actually have a video in mind kind of based around these that I want to talk about, so I won't talk about them too much, but pretty much I'm seeing a lot of repeating colors and it's just boring. These are all so boring. These are not anything that are interesting. This is nothing I haven't seen before. I mean, Fruit Sorbet is fine or whatever, but a lot of these shades, like, in these palettes, like, they're the same as other shades in other palettes, so if you bought the whole vault, I feel like it's just not a good deal. Like, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Le Macaron looks like every NYX metallic palette I've ever seen in my life. So it's just kind of, after they released that Flamingo palette that did so well, I really expected so much more from them, and this is just sad. It's just sad. I will not be picking this up if you couldn't tell. Kim Kardashian West, in honor of her birthday, is releasing, I think it's like 7 pigments and then 7 pressed eyeshadows, and it's nice to see that she is not afraid of color, but it makes me question all the collections she's making. Like the Cherry Blossom palette, I was kind of like, okay. I don't think I posted the video where I was talking about this, but I pretty much said, okay, yes, this is not Cherry Blossom, this isn't like really true to theme, but it's very Kim Kardashian. It's something that she would release. This is something that she would wear. And I kind of didn't expect her to like to ever make a rainbow palette, so then seeing this, I'm like, you idiot. You could have done so much more with this Cherry Blossom theme, and you're like, it's nice to see now that you're not afraid of color, but it makes your other collections look really weak now and like super not innovative and just not unique. But that's just my opinion. I don't plan on picking these up. I think they're really expensive for what they are. I do actually own several of these shades in other palettes. They're all shimmers, I believe, and they're pretty, but they're not anything I need. At least she's coming out with different things. I mean, I'll say that, but I don't really buy from Kim Kardashian West anymore, and I don't really buy from Kylie anymore, so it's just kind of not the move. Natasha Denona, I don't know if she's ever gonna take a break. I'm a little worried about her, because I don't know if she just didn't do well this summer or what, but she just will not stop with the releases, and I wish she kind of would have just released like a full collection all at once, so it's not like, ugh, a new palette every year, ugh, these new, like, so this is what we're talking about, the new eye codes, like, ugh, I'm just like, there's no more of this, no more. Like, you should have just released it all as one collection, or released 2 eyeshadow palettes, like 2 minis, and then the gold palette, and then no more, or the safari palette even, and then no more, because now it's just like, it's so much. And now that she's releasing these products as well, which are really pretty, I mean, like this like black and like dark brown, like chrome eye top coats, I think is what they're called. They're pretty, but I mean, I don't need them. I'm not gonna buy them, and I don't want to see her release anymore. I'm tired of seeing her name. It's kind of taking the exclusivity out of her brand, and she like just flat out needs to relax. She's starting to turn into ColourPop and Kylie, where she's just releasing things and releasing things. That's like, you gotta give us a minute to appreciate what you just launched like a few days ago. You know? So it's all kind of starting to feel like a bigger money grab, and it's just, I don't know, it's putting a real bad taste in my mouth, and it's not because I didn't brush my teeth. Too Faced is also releasing some new diamond highlighters. So they released that like one, I don't remember what it was called, like Diamond and Glow or something, I don't know. But it was kind of icy and like blue and had like a lot of different shades mixed into it, and it was really pretty. And I put it on my loves list thinking that one day it would kind of go on sale, and it hasn't yet, so I don't know what's up with that. But they're releasing new ones. They're releasing kind of like a bronzish one. I'm trying to find them, but one is like more bronzy and one is more pinky toned, and they're pretty. I don't think I'm gonna pick these up. I don't need any more highlighters, and these just seem super bulky, and at this point, if they're not gonna go on sale, I just don't want them. I think they're like 36 bucks, and I'm just not interested in these. Oh, $34, whatever, big diff. So yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on these, but it's nice to see them going back into highlighters because after they released those heart highlighters that did very poorly, it's nice to see them try and get their name back into the highlighter game. Becca and Chrissy Teigen round 3, I don't even want to talk about this very much. I'm tired of seeing her name and Becca's name together. This is very clearly a money grab and gift sets for holidays, so it's kind of weird that they're releasing it so early. They really should have waited until like early November to release this. Because they just like released something together like not very long ago, so just a little bit bored. Just a little bit bored with this. Nothing about either of these sets appeals to me, and it's just not interesting. So I am definitely going to be skipping those, and honestly, you should too, because I don't think these will be very worth it and will probably be around for a very long time. Knowing her products, they say they're limited edition and then never disappear. So MAC is releasing so the 2 new palettes. I know we talked about the what was I saying? The Pretty Punk palette. I talked about how that was kind of a cool palette for them to release. They're also releasing the Smarty Pants and the Raver Girl palette, and Smarty Pants, fine, whatever. Neutral palette, that kind of made sense for the theme of it. But then Raver Girl, I was kind of expecting to be more like electric, almost kind of like the Pretty Punk, but maybe with like brighter colors and maybe not like greens, maybe like more like hot pinks or like shimmers and glitters. But these are all kind of like pretty tame for the most part. It looks like very muted, soft pinks, very soft colors, and then like taupes, icy silvery kind of color, maybe like a gunmetal shade, and then like this purple. And then for the most part, it's just kind of like, that's just kind of boring, but okay. I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not really interested in the girls palettes from MAC. I think that the packaging bugs me the most. I think it's kind of a waste of space and material, and it's just not for me. And the Pretty Punk one interested me, but not enough for me to actually buy it. It's just, those are not for me, and I don't really think that they're the best quality. I don't know, MAC eyeshadows in my opinion have not been great, so I definitely won't be picking these up. Note, Colored Rain is releasing all of their Vivid Matte pigments in a pre-made palette, not the magnetic palette, which I know was kind of annoying to some people, and yes, I totally get that, because you did have to buy the pans and the palette separately at first, or you could buy them together, but it was more expensive. So it's going to be $50 for the pre-made palette. I think that's about the same. I don't actually know. I'll have to look that up. But I did really want these, but I kind of avoided buying them for a while because I didn't want them to be like in single pans, and I knew I wouldn't use them if they were in single pans. So this actually works perfect for me. I really want the blues and the purples, and I don't know, this just seems like a really pretty rainbow palette to me, and honestly, I really like the Colored Rain formula a lot. I love their lipsticks, I love their eyeshadows, I've tried them and they're wonderful, so I definitely want to pick this up. However, and that actually works out for me because there was another palette I wanted from a brand I hadn't tried, and it was the Slush palette by Shop September Rose, I think it was, and it was a lot bigger and I think maybe more expensive than this, and that would actually save me from buying that one and I could buy this one instead. So that's kind of exciting for me. I really like that. I do wish they would have released it like this at first and then in single pans, maybe. I don't know, or maybe all together. I don't know. It's kind of weird, maybe, but it's nice to see that they were listening to their fans pretty much, and it's nice to see that they were listening to their consumers by releasing this, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway. So, ended on a good note, definitely like that one. And let's talk about comebacks. There are 2 limited edition products that are making comebacks that I heard about, and the first one is honestly one of my favorite products of all time. It is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Amrezy highlighter. I knew this wouldn't be limited edition. It's too good. It's so perfect. It's just the most beautiful press, beautiful packaging, beautiful glow. It's gold and it's gorgeous and it looks great on so many skin tones. I think it is a really stunning highlighter, and I think it's totally worth the money, and that Anastasia formula is just so beautiful. It's not glittery, it's pure sheen and like wet look, and it's just wonderful. I love that highlighter, so definitely pick that up. Of course they're going to bring it back in time for holiday. They would be crazy not to. It makes a lot of sense that they are going to milk that thing for more money, duh. And then the last thing I saw is another thing that it's kind of on the same deal, you know, where it's like, I know you're just bringing this back because you want to milk it, because you know it'll do well at this time, because it'll make a good like gift kind of, because it's I don't know, I don't want to say it's very targeted, but collabs like this in the holiday season are typically tend to do well because people want to buy them for their friends and stuff like that. Anyway, it's the Mac and Patrick Star Powder. People have been begging for this to come back. It was supposed to be so good. I really wanted to try it, but I missed it. I didn't realize it was going to be Ellie. So I'm very excited to try this. I actually do think I'm going to pick this up, even though that's the last thing I need is a loose powder and eyeshadows and oh my gosh. I am really interested in this because he's kind of like known for like the ultimate cake face and baking like crazy. So that's kind of interesting and I do really want to check that out and maybe get my hands on it. So it's nice to see that coming back this holiday season as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are interested in other videos, be sure to check them out. I have mega hauls, I have really bad tutorials, I have some declutters coming your way, so go ahead and check them out. Subscribe if you want. That would make me feel better about myself. Please don't leave me mean comments. I get sad at night. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.